Hello and welcome to Gabbett Media. I'm Grant Abbott and today we're going to be sculpting a baby rhino. This will be from a beginner's perspective, but I won't go through any of the interface. So make sure you've checked out the playlists in the description for the complete beginner's guide to Blender. You can also go to my website gabbett.co.uk, which has all my free courses in order. If you like sculpting, then check out my sculpting playlist and it has more follow along type tutorials like this. Also, if you like what I do, then you can check out my new character course. It takes you right from nothing through to making a great game character with simple rigging and animation. It also follows the sculpting workflow, so it follows that sort of artistic approach. Okay, so here's what we're trying to achieve. We've got a happy rhino here, and I'd say he's a baby rhino. He looks a bit sort of chubby. So hopefully we'll achieve something along those lines. So we'll go up to File and then New, and we can start with a sculpting new file, which gives you this. Now you can see that the X-axis turned on, that's why we've got a dot on the other side. That's the mirror, so anything we do on one side will repeat on the other. And if I start modifying my mesh at the moment, it will just stretch and stretch, and you'll be able to start seeing the topology. I don't want that, so I'll undo that. What I want is to turn Dyn Topo on. That's this little tick box here. Bring down the menu. I'm going to change the detailing to constant, much easier for beginners. And with my little pipette here, I can find out the resolution of the mesh by clicking on it here. Now if I go to Dyn Topo, it's 30. I'm going to change this to 20, and I'm going to do a detail flood fill. So it's slightly less dense, but it's a great starting point. Okay, now I can use the snake hook tool down here. I'll actually bring out my brushes. So the snake hook tool just there. F to resize your brush. Shift F for the strength, and I'm moving my mouse side to side, of course, to change the strength. You've also got the size and the strength up the top here. Where the dot is, that's the mirror, so if I make any changes on one side, they'll update on the other. I'll undo that. Okay, the first thing you'll want to do is collect some reference images. Here's the one I made earlier. It's kind of taken from this one combined with this one, I would say. So that's what I'm going for. You could take a screenshot of this if you want my references, and they're just taken from lots of different places on the internet. So I want to make the body. I'll press F to resize my brush and pull out the front like this. Gently pull out the front, so we're getting a basic body. Nice and big, so I'll pull that out over here. It's very short and stout at the moment. Let's come across here and pull that out a little bit further. So it's got a bit of a hump at the top there, so there's a bit of a hump just there, and out like this. Okay, if I go to side view with 3 on my numpad, you'll be able to see how he's lining up, so we can start sorting out the shape, so it's a bit flatter at the bottom there. And hold down Shift and you can smooth out. It doesn't do a lot because we've got a fairly high resolution, but it will just smooth out some of those lumps. So hold down Shift to smooth out. Okay, can you see the way my brush changes? So if I go right to the end here, I can probably pull out this way for his face. You just got to watch out that you don't sort of pull out in this direction. Okay, so that's good. Make my brush a bit smaller now, and the horn coming out about here. And pull up and curve. Okay, so we're sort of getting the shape. Let's make that horn a bit bigger, a bit oversized, like this. Might be a little bit too spiky. Just make some adaptations there. Keep looking around your shape. I'm using my new XP Pen Innovator 16, which is a lovely display tablet, and I've got my middle mouse button set as pen button 1, so I can just move around my object really easily with the pen button. And that's how you can set up your pen tablet, just the middle mouse button on your pen. Okay, I'm going to make his jawline here a little bit wider. That looks good. I might make his body a bit sort of chubbier. So make the brush a bit bigger, pull it out this way, and pull it up. There we go, that looks quite nice. Just a good look around the shape, and that's great. Just bring this mouth in just a touch, there we go. Spend as much time as you need on this shape, and do that before moving on to details such as the leg, the tails, and the ears. That's very important. If I start coming in here and changing some ears, let's pull them out there, and then I want to change the size of the top here, I have to try and pull my ears around, and it gets very awkward. I'll undo those steps that I did there. So now we want some legs. Now the best way to make legs is to actually go to layout mode and add some cylinders. If you're not comfortable with the other modes of Blender, then you can just resize your brush, come round to the bottom here and pull out some legs there and pull out some legs there. Actually, I quite like those legs. I might change it slightly so they're slightly like that. That's kind of cool. If I go to 3 and side view at the moment, you can see it's a little bit more tricky to line the legs up when you model like this. If you put cylinders in here, it's much easier to line them up. That's why I would suggest using cylinders. But I quite like this style. I like the way they point inwards as well like this. I think that's pretty good fun. So I'm going to have that sort of style for the legs this time around. I'll show you how you can thicken those out later if you want to. Okay, now you can see the detail. We're starting to lose a little bit of the edge here. So something that's a bit more detailed like the ears, which are going to be at the top here, and fairly close together, so I'll move quite close together, probably around here. Nope, a little bit more up, there we go. It's not too bad for detail, but if you need to up the detail and you're thinking this is too blocky, too chunky, then go to the Dyn Topo and up the resolution there. But at the moment, I'm happy with this resolution. It's just enough for me. The thing is, you don't want to go too far and too high with your resolution because it can just become more awkward to work with, and it's for finer details really. Let's move these ears forward. And they're quite cute, aren't they? There we go. Okay, I'll do the indentation now. So with a draw brush this time, change down, Control to dig into my mesh, and make some holes for the ears. And then smooth down the base there. That's not too bad. It's a little bit blocky at the moment, but we'll smooth those out in a bit. Okay, the tail, nice and simple. Bring the brush size down and back to the snake hook tool. It's my favorite. And where the dots join together, we know that's in the middle, so it's there. And we can stick out a tail there. Now, this is probably a bit too low resolution, so I'll undo that. And now I'll go to 30. So just type in 30, dots together, and let's pull out a tail. Somewhere around there, and I pull it out to about there, so that's the length of the tail. And I'm just going to squeeze in the bottom, so make my brush nice and big and just squeeze that in to there and smooth that out a bit. And just pull that down slightly and smooth out. That's good, but the tails on rhinos, I believe, are sort of a bit fluffy at the end, sort of very hairy. So a great brush for that is the inflate. If I come to the inflate and just inflate the end like this, that's pretty good. And then go back to the snake hook tool and just bring out a point about there. I'll just smooth out a touch, bring out a point, smooth out, and I think that's working all right. There we go. Preferring this to my other one. Okay, we need to work on a bit more detail now, like the horn. We need a line coming here, we need a line for the mouth and some nostrils. A good tool for the mouth is the Draw Sharp. Let's bring our brush right down and draw out a mouth. Where the points join for the middle, and you might have to draw this several times, so undo if you're not happy, and then just try out a few different locations. This looks like a female one for some reason, I'm not sure why. Seems a bit cuter than my last one. And just keep experimenting until you're happy. Definitely want a happy rhino, so I'm probably going to go around there, I think. Might be spending a bit too long on this already. Okay, so we've got that. It's a little bit blocky though, and we can kind of smooth these things out. If you need to up the resolution, then do so, but I'm going to try the crease brush first, so I'll make my brush slightly bigger and just slowly build in a crease in here and smooth around the edges around it. Make my brush a bit smaller now. And the crease combined with the smooth brush, I think, does a nice job. So smooth around the bits around it, and that's great. Now I might just give this one a lip at the bottom, so with the draw brush this time, F to resize the brush, and just a little bit of a lip coming out there, using the smooth brush again. There we go. Okay, bit of tidying up here, so smooth brush again, and we need some nostrils. So with the draw brush, holding down Control, probably a little bit smaller actually, hold down Control and create some nostrils, just a round circle to start with, and then pull it in like this with a smaller circle. So let's have a look if that's in the right place. That looks okay. And then I like to give that a bit more substance around here, but we probably need to up the resolution. I'll wait for that and I'll do this section in here first. So back to the draw sharp, and draw around there for the horn. Needs a bit more work, so just undo and redo as you see fit. That's a bit better, I think. Okay, so we're starting to get there. I think we need a bit more detail now. So I can do the eye and maybe some stuff on the horns. But before I do that, let's think about the legs a little bit. Okay, so if you want your legs a bit thicker, there's a few ways of doing this. I think making your brush bigger and perhaps using the draw brush and then going around the base of your brush just to give it a bit more bulk can help. And then just matching that as you go up. So that's given the feet a bit more bulk, and I think I prefer that. So I'm going to go for that. You can also use the inflate brush as well. So if I make that nice and big and then inflate, you can see that inflating. I'll try that one at the back this time. So the inflate brush, and I can use that, as you can see there. But we need to sort of flatten out the bottom a bit. There is a flatten tool, but the scrape tool seems to do a better job. So I can sort of scrape the bottom like this, and on this one as well. In fact, if you press Control 7, that will take you to bottom view, as it were, and then you can get sort of flatter feet, which didn't seem to work that time. Let's try that again. A bit flatter, aren't they? Not too bad. Let's just check that's all right. Okay, they're quite cute, aren't they? I think these ones can be pulled in a bit, so I'll just use the grab brush on this. The grab brush there, very similar to the snake hook tool, but it doesn't add any topology. It just moves the topology you've got. The snake hook tool actually adds it. So if I use the snake hook tool and they've got something out here, you can see it adding topology as it goes. I'll undo those steps though. Whereas the grab tool, if I grab that and pull it out, you can see it's stretching because it's just using the topology. So there's two reasons for using the grab tool. One, it's less processing power because it doesn't have to create new topology. And two, I know the topology is going to stay nice and simple and the same. Okay, I'm going to move these. You sometimes have to make minor adjustments, so go to side view so you can see the actual side, and then you can line things up. I'm just going to give it sort of an inward tilt, like that, and this one just line it up with the other one. So looking at that line there and trying to get it to match up a bit. So just small taps to get that to match up. Round to front view with one. See if they're matching up. That's not too bad really, is it? Yeah, it looks good fun, that does. Just a little bit of smoothing out needed. You can sort of see it's going up in layers. So just with the smooth brush, holding down shift, that will enable the smooth brush. Then we can go around smoothing a bit. There we go. Okay, so I need to up the resolution so I can do the eyes. So Dyn Topo, and we'll go to 50 because the eyes are quite detailed. The resolution does depend on the power of your computer, but I would say that anything under 500,000 tries, you're fairly safe with most systems. The laptop I use at college is not particularly powerful, and it's a laptop. It's not a gaming laptop or anything, and it comfortably manages 500,000 faces, no problem. So we're not too bad under 200,000. Let's go to the draw brush, reduce the size of the brush, and come in and do some eyes. I think probably around here, making it nice and small, and I'll hold down Control and just draw a basic eye for now, so we can get the right shape. Now that's the wrong shape, so we'll undo that. We'll try that again, come in a little bit closer, just trying to find out the best position before committing to the shape. Looked like that was sticking out as well, so I'll hold down Control this time, a bit smaller, and that looks about right. I suddenly feel like this bit is a bit big, so with my snake hook tool, just gently bring this in, try not to affect the rest of the shape too much. Minor changes like that are okay, but if it's a big change, it can affect the rest of your shape, so you have to be a bit careful. Okay, I think the eye's in the right place now. So coming quite close, if you press Alt middle click, that will zoom your camera around that area. It's quite a handy one to use. Alt middle click. And I just bring the eye out a bit. So just give it a bit of volume, smooth it out as well, and just step back. A bit more, smooth it out, and just gently bring it out. So it's like that. I think that's okay. And again, brush nice and small. I might go up even higher on the resolution, so I'll go up to 60. And I'll just draw a simple eyelid like this and smooth out around the top. Simple eyelid around the bottom, smooth out around the bottom. So very straightforward eye there. And then lastly, I like to dig in with a sort of pupil there. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Just a few last minor bits I think that will help. The ears look a little bit odd, so I'm just going to go to the snake hook tool and just tidy them up a bit. So that can come in, smooth that out a bit. Alt middle click to zoom into that area. Now when I smooth out on this area, and then I smooth out on this area, there's much more influence here than there is here. And can you see the topology? There's loads more detail here than there is here. So when you smooth out and there's a sort of low poly topology like this, or low resolution, it makes much more difference when you're smoothing. The way you can change that is to use the simplify brush, and when you draw over it, that will actually change that mesh now to be as detailed as this one. Now when I press the smooth brush, you can see all that detail there. So for the ears, I'll just paint them in with the 60 resolution that's just there. And now I can start drawing a bit more detail for the ears, which will sort of smooth them out a little bit. Just come back. They look a little bit blobby, and that's the problem sometimes when you go high detail. They can start looking sort of blobby because you've got that detail to work with basically. And I'm just smoothing out areas that look a little bit blobby. Just dig in around the back here and then smooth out. Okay, so that's a bit better, I think. For the horn, I think it's nicer to have a sort of bulge around the top of the nose around here, so it sort of sticks out from the skin as if it's sort of growing out the skin. And I can smarten this shape up in here. I'm going to use the simplify brush again just to make sure that's got a nice lot of resolution in there, so I can smarten it up. And in fact the resolution's still fairly low on 60, so I could do a detailed flood fill here. If I click on that, we're up to 1,000,000 tries now. So be wary of that if you've got a slow computer, but now I can just go in and it's much easier. I don't have to use the simplify brush on certain areas. But if you've got a slow computer, then you will need to use the simplify brush to adjust our detail to certain areas, and that will help you. Let's get the crease tool in here. Remember to say about the playlists, about the sculpting playlist. I'll smooth this out with the smooth brush, holding down shift. And then with the crease brush, just create some creases. Now it's lagging a bit actually, so I'm not going to use the crease brush. I'll try the draw sharp, and that seems to run a little bit easier. Now notice it doesn't look great when it's symmetrical like this. What I do is I go around using the symmetry to start off with, and then when it gets to the symmetrical bit in the middle, turn off the X and just do some lines in the middle. And then you can just go around the shape, adding a few to give it that sort of individual look. Okay, it might be a bit too thick here, so I'll use the smooth brush just to help that along a little bit. And I think for the smile, if we use the draw tool and just come around here and smooth that out. A bit too much, so use the smooth brush, smooth that out. I'll use the smooth brush in here for the smile line as well, just to smooth it out, and then back to the crease brush and just gently pull that in. Draw tool. There we go, nice big smile. Now you might want some hooves and some shape down there, perhaps the draw sharp, and then just draw. Oh, what I haven't done is put the symmetry back on, so some of that work I've done isn't appearing on the other side. So for that smile line, for example. Now we can get around that. We can come up to the mirror options here and we can symmetrize. And I was working on the positive X, so this side over here. You can see that from our Cartesian coordinates, the side that's the X there. I want to go from positive X to minus X, so I can symmetrize. It might take a few moments depending on the resolution of your mesh. And now we can see it's symmetrized to the other side. Make sure that X is now kept on. Draw sharp. And then we can do some simple sort of toenail type things basically, aren't they? Stretching a little bit this way, might undo those Try that again around here, I think. Try and get perpendicular to it. That's probably going to be better, isn't it? With my camera. There we go. Yeah, that's the one. Oh, middle click to zoom in on this area. Okay, so the last thing to do, nice big smooth brush and just go around sort of almost polishing basically any areas that need a bit of smoothing out. So you can see if you look on the surface there, just a bit of smoothing out. It's not really essential because you can shade smooth your object in the end anyway. But just a few areas like this, I think it can help a bit. Be careful not to smooth out any of your finer details like around the eyes. Take a bit more care around there. Okay, the smile might be a bit too extreme looking at it now, so I'll just sort of smooth out gently around there. Alt left click on that area to zoom in. That's about right, just a bit more subtle there I think. It's probably a bit better. Okay, so we've got a nice cute little rhino there. It's taken me about 35 minutes. I've time-lapsed a few pieces of course. If you want to know about rendering this, then I'll put a link in the description to a video which I talk about that, about how you can make your objects look nice. What you will need to do though is just come up to the plus here and under general go to layout mode, and that will take you back to layout. It's much easier to add objects and things in here because you've got the object menus and so forth, and you're back in object mode instead of sculpt mode. As for texturing, there's a couple of different ways of doing it. I've got a procedural texture here for this clay, and I'll put that on the screen now. If you want a tutorial about this, then let me know in the comments. If you want to find out more about texture painting and how to set up your models and sculpts for texture painting, then look at my texture painting playlists. So I think that about rounds everything up. Let me know how you get on, join the Discord server and share your work there. I look forward to seeing your progress. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.